Good evening. It is time for today's Tax Talk. I'm your host. I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. It is Thursday, July 7th, the year of our Lord 2022. Lots going on there. Uh-oh. Here we go. I'm your host. I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. It is Thursday, July 7th. Don't know where that's coming from. Let's stop it. It is July 7th. It's repeating for me. Where is it? Don't know where that's coming from. How do you stop it if you don't know where it's coming from? I know where it's coming from. Forgive me. I have it listed here because I'm on my page. It's okay. That's what you get when you program your own show. When you're the producer. I left it on because But anyway, so we're going to talk today about IRS audits. There's lots of talk. There was always lots of talk during the Obama era about whether the IRS was used for political purposes, and now two of the biggest political, what shall I call them? Hacks, I think, in modern American history, are saying that they're being targeted by the IRS for audits by Trump. Well, let's find out what the story is. That's what we're going to talk about today. Won't you join us? Okay, so here we are. We're back to let me go back to the show here. Jim Comey and McCabe, former director of the IRS and former deputy director of not the IRS, the FBI. They have come out today, actually yesterday in the New York Times, that they are being audited by the IRS, and they're claiming that it's political. I don't know. It seems too cloddish, wrong. It just doesn't seem like anybody would do this, given the circumstances behind all this. So let's see if we can talk about this story. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble today, but let's go back. Let's go to the story. Let us go to the story. Here it is. It's in the Hill today. We're going to talk about this story. Now, IRS and political storm over Trump-era audits. Actually, the McCabe audit is not even Trump-era. It didn't initiate until after Trump was gone, 7 months or 8 months after Biden took office. So, I don't know how they could call that a Trump-era audit, except for the commissioner of the IRS was appointed by Trump. Although I don't think he was ever a Trumpeteer. Actually, he worked against Trump, in my opinion. So the story doesn't seem credible to me. But, I'm biased, like all of us are, in one way or another. The IRS is at the center of a political storm over audits conducted on former FBI Director James Comey and former Deputy Director Andrew McCabe. We remember them. And they both targeted people and went after them wrongly, unjustly, and now they're going to complain that someone's coming after them. Again, I don't think it's that they were targeted. My own opinion. Both had high-profile fights with former President Trump. Yeah, because they targeted Trump and they went after him illegally. And the rare audits were conducted on Trump's watch under the Trump-appointed IRS Commissioner Charles Rettig. Actually, as we're going to find out in the story, McCabe wasn't under the Trump era. So I don't know how they could. Lawmakers on Thursday were calling for a full investigation into whether the two Trump adversaries had been illegally targeted, and if so, how. I actually agree with the investigation. They should investigate it. The possibility that the former president or someone in the White House, his cabinet, his appointees, or leadership working under the Trump-appointed IRS commissioner may have requested an audit of those deemed disloyal is alarming, House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Richard Neal said in a statement Thursday. He's totally unbiased. It is inconceivable that someone within the IRS may have acted on this request out of loyalty to the Trump administration or fear of retaliation for failing to act, he said. Comey was fired by President Trump in 2017 during an FBI probe into possible relationships between the Russian government and Trump's 2016 campaign team. Well, we all know now that never happened, and Comey was one of those perpetrating this false story, and they knew it was false, in my opinion. There was speculation at the time that his firing may have taken the momentum out of the investigation. There wasn't any momentum in it. They had Mueller investigation. Had nothing to do with Comey. McCabe took over for Comey as acting director of the FBI and was fired by Trump's Attorney General Jeff Sessions in 2018. He became a vocal critic of the administration after his firing and joined CNN as a contributor. According to the New York Times, Comey and McCabe were both served a rare and highly demanding type of IRS audit following their firings. These audits are part of something called the National Research Program at the IRS, which goes through taxpayers' returns in microscopic detail and requires intense and time-consuming back and forth with the agency. Only a few thousand of these kinds of resource-intensive audits are carried out each year. There was a 1 in 30,000 chance of Comey getting a National Research Program audit, and a 1 in 20,000 chance that McCabe getting the audit, according to the Times. Taken together, that's about a 1 in 600 million chance of two randomly suspected individuals receiving the same audit in a pool of more than 150 million U.S. taxpayers. Actually, that's not right because they weren't done in the same year. So the odds drastically changed. They're not what they're saying if you know statistics. Even if you don't, the next year would be independent of that first year. The chances. This is hardly the first time the IRS has been accused of playing a political game with tax collections and enforcement. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Republicans at Capitol Hill have quick to point out that there was a similar controversy during the Obama administration concerning the tax-exempt status of certain conservative groups. There was not just an allegation, similar controversy. It was proven to be true. As we learned, and there was penalties imposed. As we learned from the repeated targeting of conservative groups and the dangerous leaking of private tax returns under the Obama and Biden administrations, the IRS should never be used as a weapon against political opponents, Ways and Means ranking member Kevin Brady said in his Thursday statement. Okay. Commissioner Rettig has stated unequivocally he has had no communication with President Trump, and research audits are statistically generated, Brady continued. He has referred this issue to the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration, and I support investigating all allegations of political targeting, consistent with the precedent set by the House Ways and Means Committee when investigating President Obama's disgraced former IRS Director Lois Lerner, who the committee confirmed had engaged in this abuse. It's true. Lerner, in 2013, headed an IRS division that oversaw tax-exempt organizations. Certain conservative organizations began receiving extra scrutiny at the time, triggering a huge controversy during the Obama era over whether those groups were being targeted for unfair treatment. And everybody denied it, and until after it wasn't until after Obama left that it came out, well, yeah, okay, they did that. These allegations are reminiscent of another time when the president inappropriately used the IRS to target his enemies, Neal said in a statement, referring to the conversation Nixon had with two aides in the Oval Office in 1971, in which he described the ideal qualities of the next IRS commissioner. At that time, Nixon said, "I want to be sure he is a ruthless son of a bitch, that he will do what he's told, that every income tax return I see that he will go after our enemies and not go after our friends." White House Press Secretary Jean-Pierre declined to answer a question about whether President Biden still has confidence in IRS Commissioner Rettig following the allegations. His term is up. As you know, the IRS Commissioner, his term is up in November, but I don't have any updates on that. Can't speak to anything more besides, we would refer you to the IRS on this specific thing, and he is going to be up in November, so I will leave it at that. The IRS is still referring Comey and McCabe's cases to the Treasury Inspector General's office. The IRS has referred the matter to the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration for review. IRS Commissioner Rettig personally reached out to the Inspector General after receiving a press inquiry, the agency said in Thursday's statement. Federal privacy laws preclude us from discussing specific taxpayer situations. Yeah, unless it's to your benefit. The IRS added, audits are handled by career civil servants, and the IRS has strong safeguards in place to protect the exam process and against politically motivated audits. It's ludicrous and untrue to suggest that senior IRS officials somehow target specific individuals for national research program audits. So as they mentioned, the big one was from. The story comes from the New York Times, no friend of President Trump, and the Washington Post, no friend of President Trump. Okay, so are they trying to say that somehow President Trump targeted them? Yeah, that's what they're trying to say. So let's go back. I got another story here. If I can get rid of this advertisement. Let's go back to, Let's go back to the story. Here we go. IRS chief faces questions over audits of Trump foes. Biden administration officials had already begun interviewing potential replacements. So they're trying to get rid of this Rettig. Why? He's not their guy. Not that he's a trumpeter. I don't think he's ever been accused of being a trumpeter. He was appointed by Trump. But that doesn't make him a Trump guy. But he's not Biden's guy, and Biden wants his guy in there, and that's his prerogative. But they also don't want to make it look political, and so it'd be easier just to push him out because of a scandal. And also Comey and McCabe are trying to save their own face about and their own problems. The Commissioner of the Internal Revenue Services faces a new onslaught of questions after a report Wednesday from the New York Times showed that two foes of President Donald Trump have been selected for a rare audit. Rettig, whose elevation by Trump to lead the service in 2018 surprised many tax professionals when it was announced, faced new scrutiny after the New York Times revealed that both former FBI Director James Comey and his deputy Andrew McCabe were the subjects of highly unusual audits for which the IRS says were selected at random. The Washington Post has confirmed the audits. Rettig was a tax attorney in Beverly Hills when Trump put him in the charge of the agency, which employs about 71,000 full-time staffers. He had defended a billionaire the IRS accused of hiding money in offshore accounts. A venture capitalist the agency alleged used sham accounting to shelter assets, and the heirs of a millionaire defense contractor who sought to fend off inheritance taxes. He started out as a Trump ally when his 4-year term began in 2018, shielding the former president's tax returns from public view in the face of the House Democratic lawsuit. He didn't shield them. It's illegal to look at individuals' tax returns. You can't just say, go ahead and get, that's not shielding Trump. There's laws against that, except for ProPublica did that. And nobody seems to care about that. We're not doing an investigation into that, it appears. But Rettig has proved a willing partner for the Biden administration as well, supporting its efforts to close the gap between what taxpayers owe and what they pay, and implementing expansive new stimulus measures, the tax gap, as we talk a lot about on this show. The IRS commissioner's term is to expire in November, and Biden administration officials had already begun interviewing potential candidates for his replacements before this week's news, according to two people familiar with the matter who spoke on the condition of anonymity to describe private conversations. Rettig has expressed openness to a second term, said one other person familiar with the matter who spoke on the condition of anonymity for the same reason. Asked Thursday if the president is confident in Rettig's leadership, White House spokesman Jean-Pierre repeatedly refused to answer, telling reporters at her briefing he is going to be up for in November, so I will leave it at that. Jean-Pierre said of the White House otherwise did not comment on enforcement actions taken by the IRS. Still, the revelation about Comey and McCabe's audits will revive difficult questions for the commissioner and his legacy. Rettig had won praise from Democratic lawmakers under Biden for his outreach and responsiveness to Capitol Hill, but his deference to Trump has come under scrutiny, given the nonpartisan role the IRS is supposed to play. The revelation will also bring new scrutiny to former Trump Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, since Treasury oversees the IRS. A spokesman for Mnuchin told the Post in a statement that it is unlawful for the Secretary of Treasury to request, directly or indirectly, any officer or employee of the Internal Revenue Service to conduct or terminate an audit or other investigation of any particular taxpayer with respect to the tax liability of such taxpayer, with limited exceptions that do not apply. In a statement, Trump said, "I have no knowledge of this," and pointed to 2019 Justice Department watchdog report that was critical of Comey and McCabe's earlier investigation. The IRS has been adamant that there is no political interference in its audit process. Comey and McCabe were selected for the National Research Program, which typically selects about 13,000 people and corporations a year out of hundreds of millions of tax returns for the intensive audit program. McCabe's audit was launched months into the Biden administration, although still under Rettig's tenure. It focused on his 2019 tax return. His 2019 tax return was due in 2020. That's when the election was. And it wasn't until 2021 that he was picked for the audit. And again, Trump wasn't the president then. The audit program is run by the IRS's Research, Applied Analytics, and Statistics Division. A group of career employees, statisticians, and data scientists run a computer program that randomly selects taxpayers across the income spectrum to determine compliance levels with the nation's tax codes, according to John Koskinen, who served as the IRS commissioner under Obama administration and at the beginning of the Trump administration. Once the names are chosen in the random lottery, they are forwarded to the IRS division that handles audits, according to Koskinen. IRS spokesman Jody Reynolds said the statement that Rettig personally referred the matter to the Inspector General for review after details of the Times reporting emerged. She also called it ludicrous and untrue to suggest that senior IRS officials somehow targeted specific individuals for National Research Program audits, while adding the IRS was prohibited from commenting on specific taxpayer situations. Commissioner Rettig is not involved in individual audits or taxpayer cases. Those are handled by career civil servants. As IRS Commissioner, he has never been in contact with the White House in either administration on IRS enforcement or individual taxpayer matters. He has been committed to running the IRS in an impartial, unbiased manner from the top to bottom. Former IRS officials expressed disbelief that there could have been any political meddling in the audit program, since there are federal criminal penalties for interference. There is no way that Rettig to have ordered or performed the audit without a supportive career staff, said Mark Everson, who served as commissioner of the service under George W. Bush. I would be stunned if there were any intentional selection of either McCabe or Comey for audit under this program. That would be truly shocking. I don't see that, Everson said. Everson added that even if it's randomly selected, Comey should have been excluded from the audit because of his high-profile political status. Somebody should have exercised more judgment before proceeding with the Comey audit. I would have hoped that would be the case. Even if randomly selected, I think a supervisor should have said, we can just knock this one out. Still, former IRS officials, including Everson, said the matter should be investigated. The Treasury Inspector General did not immediately respond to the request for comment or whether the office had opened an investigation into the selection of audits. For two guys who are enemies of President Trump to be selected together, although in different years, would have been viewed as unusual, Koskinen said. In light of everything else going on in the last few years, it's worth taking a look to reassure the public that the IRS is treating all taxpayers fairly. They don't treat all taxpayers fairly. Some House Democrats have started demanding Rettig's dismissal over the matter. If you think the audit of Donald Trump's purported enemies was a random act of God, then I have a bridge in New Jersey I'd like to sell you, said Parcell, a Democrat from New Jersey, a member of the House Ways and Means Committee. There may be no group on the face of this earth that deserves the benefit of the doubt less than Donald Trump and his government enablers. Charles Rettig has wrecked the public trust in the IRS, and I reiterate my calls for President Biden to fire Mr. Rettig immediately. There you have it. I wanted to do one more, though. This is the IRS, the New York Times story. This is I have it in the description about this national research program and what the IRS says about it and how it all works. So there's a link in the description there. And then there's this about this ProPublica. This is the ProPublica story. The secret IRS files trove over never-before-seen records reveal how the wealthiest avoid income taxes. This is the story that revealed thousands of our highest income earners in America and their personal tax returns for many years. Whereas this was more than a year ago. We have not heard of any follow-up. Well, we can't comment on any investigation. Can you comment if there is one? No, we can't comment if there even is one. Nothing's come out of it. Nobody knows anything about it. Nobody says anything about it. There hasn't been any word of anybody being suspected or investigated, much like the Supreme Court leak. Have you heard anything about the Supreme Court leaker? Nah, they can't find him. Just like this one. Well, they leak thousands of documents, personal documents, criminally protected by the IRS and statute, and we can't find 1 ounce of an investigation into this. Who are they going after? It shouldn't take long, and like the Supreme Court, shouldn't take long to figure out who did it. Same thing with the IRS. That shouldn't take a year or longer to investigate. We should know who that is, but we don't. Will we? I don't know. It doesn't seem like it. Doesn't seem like we'll ever get to the bottom of that. That's something that just will go away one day. And whatever happened to that? Oh, I don't know. We never got to the bottom of that, did we? Oh, there's probably nothing there anyway. Anyway, that's where we are. So thanks so much for joining us. I appreciate you taking the time. I think it was an interesting story today. Always IRS problems, IRS problems, IRS problems. That's what we handle here, right? Because tax problems are really at the core of all news, right? How do they get the money? How are they going to spend it? And then what are politicians using to go after their enemies? So it's an interesting case. Remember, we need your help to like and subscribe. We want you to like and subscribe. We need your help, so please do that for us. And also remember, if you have IRS problems, if you're fighting the IRS and you don't know what to do, a lot of people come to see me, they're stuck, they're paralyzed, they don't know what to do. Well, here's the first thing you should do. Get a copy of my book, Deal with Your IRS Problem Today. Go to freeirsbook.com, freeirsbook.com, get your free copy. Now, I will ask for a small, if you want a hard copy, I'm going to ask you for to pay the shipping and handling charges. Small price to pay. Oftentimes what we charge doesn't even cover the shipping, not counting the free bonuses that are inside that package. So go to freeirsbook.com and get your free copy. Thanks so much for joining us here today. We will be tomorrow. We have we're going to talk about the United States Supreme Court with a panel of attorneys. So you'll want to join us around 2:00 in the afternoon. Again, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to being with you again next Monday here on today's Tax Talk. Thank you.